ॐ सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते। Dear devotees, as today is Sunday and customarily I am supposed to speak in English to discuss something for 1 hour today. I just thought it is better to take some statements in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and proceed with the discussion so that we will have some clarity regarding the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. As we remember, Master Mahashaya Mahendranath Gupta, when he visited Sri Ramakrishna for the second time, he put this question. I will just read, you may be knowing, but for the continuity of the talk, I am just going to read the sentence from Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. asked, Sir, how may we fix our minds on God? This is the most common question among the devotees of all sects, not only of Sri Ramakrishna, but of all the sects. The common question, how may we fix our minds on God? Sri Ramakrishna says, repeat God's name and sing His glories. Keep holy company, and now and then visit God's devotees and holy men. The mind cannot dwell on God if it is immersed day and night in worldliness, in worldly duties and responsibilities. It is most necessary to go into solitude now and then and think of God. To fix the mind on God is very difficult. When a tree is young, it should be fenced all around, otherwise it may be destroyed by cattle. To meditate, you should withdraw within yourself or retire to a secluded corner or to the forest, and you should always discriminate between the real and the unreal. God alone is real, the eternal substance, all else is unreal, that is impermanent. By discriminating thus, one should shake off impermanent objects from the mind. Sri Ramakrishna is giving a very brief answer to what has asked. He says 4 things here. The first thing is repeat God's name. Second thing, keep holy company. Third is solitude, meditating in solitude or meditation in solitude. Last and the fourth is viveka, that is discrimination between the real and the unreal. Here, by taking the name of God, we can realize God. Keeping holy company brings out the fire to realize Him. Meditating in solitude brings out all the samskaras that are hidden, which cannot be known as and when we are in working day and night and engaged in worldly duties. And discrimination makes the mind to stand on the real and leave out the unreal. The question or the thing that I am going to take is only the first one, repeat God's name. Here, the necessity of God's name and the importance of God's name are the signs of japa. All these things, I just want to give the details of these things to what extent that is possible within this limited time. Later, one devotee by name Mukherjee asks one question to Sri Ramakrishna. Revered Sir, is it good to practice japa? He is asking the question, is it good to practice japa? Sri Ramakrishna says, yes. One attains God through japa by repeating the name of God secretly and in solitude. One receives divine grace. Then comes his vision. Suppose there is a big piece of timber lying under water and fastened to the land with a chain. By proceeding along the chain, link by link, you will at last touch the timber. Here Sri Ramakrishna, very first thing is, he says, is it good? Means he says yes. A straight answer, is it good? Yes, it is good to practice japa. Second question, or the second answer for the question, he says very definitely, one can realize God through japa alone. This is one of the important things in the gospel, which is called Naradiya Bhakti, where one can attain God by just taking the name of God and nothing else. Previously he told sadhu sangha, solitude, and again the last thing is discrimination, but he has not mentioned all those things here. He says, by japa alone one can attain God. How to attain God by taking the nama japa is the question now. Once, a mathematician went to see Mahatma Gandhiji. As we know, he always used to take the name of Rama. This mathematician was not much interested in taking the name of God. He asked, Sir, the moment I hear the words of Rama repeating so many times, I feel it is very insipid and it jars my ear. I cannot tolerate it, sir. And how can you have joy taking this name? As he was a mathematician, Gandhiji says, do you know the thing called recurring in mathematics? Suppose 13.333 is a recurring digit. If you say, you can go on adding 3 for every recurring. So, it goes on recurring until it reaches the integer 14. He says, though the difference between one recurring 3 and the second recurring 3 is too small and cannot be identified, but still, if you add 1 3, it is much nearer to number 14 than the previous 3. In the same way, the nama which he took Rama, by repeating day and night, though it seems to be insipid in the beginning, takes step by step towards the God. This is what Gandhiji says. Generally, one question can be asked with this mantra itself. Suppose I am speaking here, it is full of words, and words form a sentence, and you understand the meaning of that sentence, taking the meaning of individual words. What is the difference between this ordinary word and a mantra? How come a name called Rama, Shiva, Govinda, Narayana can lead to infinity and not these words called here, there, is, was, that, etc.? These words convey meaning and it gives knowledge of a sentence only. Suppose I say, this is a beautiful auditorium. I go on repeating it, this is a beautiful auditorium. This is a beautiful auditorium. The person who hears thinks that I have gone mad. If I say, this is a beautiful auditorium, we cannot realize or build an auditorium with these words just by saying this is a beautiful auditorium. But if you take the name of Rama, it is based on a reality called Rama Tattva, and this Nama is taking towards the Tattva. The Tattva is the reality, and the Nama, which represents the reality, by repeating the Nama, it takes us to that Rama Tattva. The words which convey knowledge is called Vachya Shakti. The Nama which gives the Tattva is called Vachika Shakti. These are all wonderful mantra shastra which is very deep, but it is enough if we understand the basics. More than enough, it is better to do japa. In Koilpara, one brahmachari by name Krishnalal asked the same question to Holy Mother. See what she says. At Koilpara, a disciple said to the Holy Mother, Mother, the mind is very restless. I can study it in no way. You should understand here, a brahmachari who is staying with Holy Mother is asking the question. It is not the devotees. We should be very much aware of this point. Because he is staying with Mother, at the same practicing austerity and tapas, and leading a life of spirituality. But still he asked these questions, and how come we should understand as a devotees? Mind is restless. In reply, the Mother said, as the wind removes the cloud, so the name of God destroys the cloud of worldliness. She continues, the mind will be steadied if one repeats the name of God 15 or 20,000 times a day. It is truly so, O Krishnalal. I myself have experienced it. Let them practice it first. If they fail, let them complain. One should practice japa with some devotion. But this is not done. They will not do anything. They will only complain, saying, why do I not succeed, Mother? One must experience the result of prarabdha karma. No one can escape it. But japa, or repetition of God's holy name, minimizes its intensity. It is like the case of a man who is destined to lose his leg, but instead suffers only from the prick of a thorn in his foot. Here Mother is indicating three things. First, as the wind removes the cloud, so the cloud of worldliness is removed by repeating the name of God. Second thing, the name or the repetition should be accompanied with some amount of devotion. Third, prarabdha karma we have to extinguish, we have to experience the karma of prarabdha, but still the name can minimize the prarabdha karma. I will just discuss these things. We should understand, and moreover, as we study the life of Holy Mother, we see Mother used to repeat at least 100,000 times a day with so much work with herself, staying with Sri Ramakrishna in that Nahabad, having so many things to do, but still she used to do 100,000 japa a day. Even the disciple of Holy Mother, Swami Virajanji Maharaj, when he was staying in Shamlatal, used to do minimum 125,000 a day. He used to sit for 16 to 18 hours a day for doing japa. If you have gone to the Shamlatal Ashrama, where he stayed for so many days to do the tapas, in front of his cottage, there is some small rock. One day, Virajanji Maharaj went and sat on that rock, maybe after food, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He said to the Javan, who was an assistant who was staying with him to assist for cooking, etc., he said, by evening 4 o'clock, ek to cha dena. Please bring little cha, tea at 4. I will be sitting here for japa. He sat at by 4:30. The boy came with a tea and called Maharaj. He went on calling, but still Maharaj did not answer his call. He thought he may get up after some time and left tea there itself and went away. Night 8:30, he again brought with a lantern some food and called Maharaj. So many times, but still Maharaj did not get up. He kept the food beside Maharaj and went away. Morning 4:30, he brought the tea to Maharaj and asked, Maharaj, can you get up? Still no answer, and it went on till 8 or 8:30 in the morning. He sat at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He got up next day at 8:30 without moving not even a single part of the body. That is what Mother says. If you have to practice something or you have to understand the Nama, the power of the divine name, it should be repeated minimum 15 to 20,000 times a day. Even as we saw yesterday, Gopalma says, you have to count the name minimum of 10,000 times in one sitting. If you sit for japa, the minimum number should be 10,000 times, without which don't leave your asana. So much so, inspired by seeing Gopalma, Swamiji, that is Swami Vivekananda, once two women devotees approached Swamiji for initiation. Swamiji said, it is better you go to Gopalma for initiation. He is the disciple, foremost disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, but he says, you go to Gopalma for initiation. And he sends them to Gopalma. Gopalma says, who am I to initiate these devotees? Then Swamiji says, you have realized Krishna by doing japa for 30 long years, and what are you going to do with that mantra? Because you realized it. You give those mantra to them. And she initiates them, those two devotees, women devotees. That is what Gopalma has attained just by doing japa and nothing else. Now, we have to understand how come this mantra shastra has got this tradition. How come this mantra shastra is so much wonderful, especially in this country, India? I will just deal with a little bit of historicity. During 10th and 11th century, Ramananda Saraswati was the main person to bring out this Nama Japa to the whole of North India. You can study The Glory of Monasticism by Swami Bhajnanji Maharaj. He has written very in detail, in briefly, but it has been hinted to many other books through which we can understand many other things connected with Mantra Shastra and Ramananda Saraswati. This Ramananda, he was a child prodigy. He was a very young boy when in one day while sleeping in a dream, he saw Narayana in the vision, and this Narayana Vishnu gave his Shankha conch to this boy in a dream. The next day when he woke up, he saw that Shankha on the table. All through his life, it is said he used to preserve the Shankha of Vishnu in his life. Later, when he became a young man, a youth, he took sannyasa under Ramanuja sect, that is Vaishnava sect. He came to South India for pilgrimage. After coming to South India, he went back to North India. He was staying in Allahabad. He joined a mutt there. He started a mutt also there in Allahabad. The moment he went to Allahabad, after coming to South India for the pilgrimage, Vaishnavites are very orthodox people. They saw this man coming. We should remember always they used to go by foot and no lorry, no bus, no train, no air flight during 8th, 10th or 11th century. When he came back to the mutt after some 3-4 years, they thought this Ramanji has gone to so many places in South India and taken food with so many hands, and hence he has spoiled himself. He has trespassed the food purity. Then they excommunicated Ramanuja from the mutt. He has been removed from the society itself of Vaishnavites. He was so embarrassed and shocked to see this condition. But with so much grief, he came to Kashi. Near the bank of the Ganges, he used to stay in a small cave. Every day, 3 times in a day, morning, afternoon, evening, he used to blow the conch which he received from Vishnu. Even the Muslims who used to stay in Kashi used to wait for this Ramanji to blow that Shankar, to hear that wonderful noise of the Shankar. Even Muslims have written their reminiscences regarding Ramanji Maharaj. So this Ramanji, when he was staying there in that cave, he met Kabir Das. Kabir Das took the mantra of Rama from Ramanji. As he was staying, the Muslim devotees there were influenced by this Ramanji. Then there was a sect in Muslim, that is Islam, that is called Sufi saints. This is a mixture of Islam and Hinduism, taking the Catholicity of the Hinduism and taking the Nirakara, the formless aspect of the Islam, combining which we get the Sufi sect. These Sufis were influenced by this Ramanji's Nama Japa. They took this mantra, the concept of prayer and japa, and went to Middle East, the Greek, Russia, and the eastern side. There, the Greek ascetics of Christianity, especially the Eastern Orthodox Church, if I say Eastern Orthodox Church, it is got so many things to understand with Christianity. Actually, the Vatican is on the western side, so the eastern side, which is Russia, etc., which are the country, they are unable to take the Vatican, the Rome, the Pope as the head, and they differentiated themselves from the Catholic and formed their own sect, which is called Eastern Orthodox Church. They are also Catholics. These Eastern Orthodox Church people took this Nama Japa, the concept of prayer. St. Paul says, unceasing prayer leads to divinity. Unceasing prayer. This unceasing prayer came from Ramanji through these Sufi saints. And they use rosary. Even Islam people use rosary for repeating. This even influence these Greek. They say, Ave Maria, Hail Maria, Hail Maria. They will repeat the mantra. So, this Mantra Shastra as a whole is the base given to the whole world by Indians. It was revived by Ramanji in the 11th century AD. This is just, I am introducing to the just historicity of the aspect of Mantra Shastra. After Ramanji Maharaj, it was Chaitanya Deva who brought this Name Ruchi to the whole of North India, and then later Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who is the avatar of this present age and considered as the Varistha of all avatara, who is the consummation of all the spirituality, traditional spirituality of whole India for the past 3000 years, again revived this Mantra Shastra. And hence he says, by doing japa alone, one can attain to God. This has got so many things to understand. I am giving all these things in a very brief note. This Ramanji, when he was so much shocked to see the casteism and the fanaticism of these Vaishnavites, says, Jati pati punchai nahi koi, hari ko baje so hari ka hoi. One who takes the name of God is nearer to Hari. There no caste, no tradition, no fanaticism can come in. This is he writes in his book as a couplet, which is he has realized by taking the name. As we read the Eternal Companion, there one question is put by Swami Yatishwaranji Maharaj to Brahmanji in Kashi. Yatishwaranji Maharaj asks, Maharaj, the mind is so restless and I feel that I am born with bad samskaras and I am unable to progress. Yatishwaranji Maharaj puts this question, I am born with bad samskaras, to Raja Maharaj. Raja Maharaj says, don't say these things. Never say such things. Two things you have to do. He says, to do Chandi Parayana, Saptashati and Vishnu Sahasranama, plus take the name of God, that is repetition, japa, at the dead of night. So, Yatishwaranji Maharaj, even when he was staying in Bangalore, he used to sit for meditation at dead of night and used to get up late in the morning around 6. Because the whole night he used to do japa. This is what Raja Maharaj has said to Yatishwaranji Maharaj. As we read the life of Narendranath Swami Vivekananda, though Sri Ramakrishna says Narendra belongs to the realm of Advaita, to the realm of Absolute, still in Kasipur Garden House, very strikingly, he gives Rama mantra to Narendranath. He says he belongs to the realm of Absolute or Advaita or Jnani, but he initiates Narendranath with the Rama mantra. The moment Narendranath receives that mantra, he becomes ecstatic and tears start flowing down his eyes. He starts circling the Kasipur room of Sri Ramakrishna with those mantra in his mouth, uttering so many times, and for hours together he will be just moving around the building. And all the disciples goes to Sri Ramakrishna and says, what happened to Narendranath? He has become so ecstatic. Never we have seen that such condition with Narendranath. Sri Ramakrishna says, don't worry. He will come to normal consciousness after some time. This is what Sri Ramakrishna has given to Narendranath, and what about common devotees like us? There is a wonderful science of japa which has come out of the realization of the mantras by those rishis who attain to that perfection, taking all these mantras. Or if I want to put it the other way, there are a lot of advantages by just repeating the mantra or nama japa. The first thing that we should understand with this mantra is, it is going to purify the mind. It purifies the mind, chitta shuddhi. Swamiji has given a second interpretation. By doing karma, you can purify the mind. This is for a tamasic bhakta to come to rajasic, then going to sattva. To come out of tamas, one has to do work or karma and bring out the rajasic aspect, then elevate himself to sattva, then do nama japa. This karma also leads to chitta shuddhi, but japa also leads to chitta shuddhi. This chitta shuddhi, we should understand many things by all this. Here, once Swami Yogananda, that is earlier Yogin, went to Sri Ramakrishna and asked the question, Sir, how to control kama? How to control the lustful feelings in one's mind? What does Sri Ramakrishna says? Take the name of Hari. He says, take the name of Hari. Yogin thinks this Paramahamsa does not know anything about spirituality. So many times from my boyhood I am taking this name of Hari, nothing has happened, and he simply says, take the name of Hari. How can this be possible to purify the mind? Then he simply goes out to Panchavati, and there was a Hatha Yogi who was practicing so many Hatha Yogas, and he goes seeking some solution for this kama from that Hatha Yogi. Sri Ramakrishna is searching for yogi in the room and he is not to be seen. He simply goes out in search of yogi into Panchavati. So many onlookers are there, even yogin there. He catches him and says, "Don't go to these people. It is not necessary for this Kali Yuga. You come to my room." Then yogin thinks he is jealous of that yogin. He cannot give solution and he is not allowing me to go to another person also. So jealous is Paramahamsa. Then Sri Ramakrishna still says, "You please continue to take the name of Hari." Anyhow, because he is telling so many times, let us see one more, let us try for one more thing. And he starts repeating and becomes such a wonderful sadhu. And Holy Mother says, he is the best servant or the sevaka which I have not seen. First place goes to Yogin, second place goes to Swami Sharadanda and no one else. Mother did not accept those 16 disciples. Even some people ask, what about Swamiji, what about Rakhal Maharaj? Then Mother says, it is possible only to Yogin. As Yogin passed away in 1899, it is left to Sharat Mother to take a woman like me in this world and nobody can stay with me. Yogin became so pure, taking the name of Hari. This japa purifies the mind. One concept, psychological concept we should understand, this whole world is nothing but nama and rupa. Nama is name, rupa is form. You cannot avoid nama and rupa in this world. So Swamiji says, in his Gnana Yoga lectures and even in Bhakti Yoga lecture, Swamiji says, every thought is connected with nama and rupa. There cannot be a thought without a nama and without a rupa. Can you conceive it? A thought without a rupa and a nama? So, the moment we see this word, the nama rupa is associated with a thought and the thought is associated with a particular desire. Ase. Every desire is connected to a thought is connected to nama and rupa. This is the psychology behind all TV channels. Day and night you see the same thing and you are influenced and unconsciously act according to the influence of those things. And hence it is said, when you are in the childhood days of spirituality, never see anything, even reading newspaper is not allowed, if you want something divine. So, what is the psychology of the nama which brings here? This nama, japa, also is associated with nama and rupa, a divine form and a divine name. This breaks the connection between the thought and a desire. Every desire, if it comes up, is connected with a thought. You break the link between this desire and a thought, taking the name and the form. So, even though I see a form, it is not attached to any desire. A man is influenced by a woman is influenced by a man. This nama and rupa can be broken, taking the name, you see the form, but there is no desire which arises in the mind because you have cut the connection by taking the nama. This is the psychology behind this purifying agent of the nama. In Raja Yoga, Swamiji gives a wonderful example he says, he gives some analogy, a story. A prime minister did something wrong and the king was so much disturbed by this prime minister, he put him above a tower which had no staircase to go up, only through a rope, and they left that prime minister on the tower and came back. He had no means to come down to the earth. He has to stay there without food and water and die one fine day. These gods left him on the tower and went away. Night, this minister's wife came near the tower and shouted, "What is the solution? How to bring you back on this ground?" Then he says, "Tomorrow you bring 3 things. One is the beetle, dumbi. Second, a little bit of honey. Third, you bring a silk thread, a twine thread, and a rope." So, next day, she came with all these things. Then he directed his wife to smear a little bit of honey on the face of the beetle and to leave the beetle on the wall of the tower upwards. So the beetle thinks the honey is in the front and it starts searching for the honey and moves up. Now he says to tie that silk thread to the body of the beetle. So this beetle starts moving till it reaches the top where this minister is standing. He catches hold of the beetle and took the silk thread. After taking the silk thread, he says, "Now you tie the twine thread to this silk thread." Then he takes the twine, then he instructs his wife to tie the big rope to this twine thread. The moment he gets that big rope, he comes down to the ground and escapes from that tower. Saying this, Swamiji continues, "It is the jiva is bound in this body and mind complex. To come out, you need the mantra. That is the beetle, honey and the thread which takes you out of this samsara. So, as a thread, we have to use this mantra. As Sri Ramakrishna says, it is the link which binds the timber to the outside person who is standing to get hold of the timber. Link by link, we proceed towards the timber, proceed towards the Ishta, taking the name so many number of times." Even if you see the life of Ishwar Chandra, who is the father of Shishi Maharaj, was a famous tantric sadhaka who did the Durga Puja for the first time in Belur Math. When Swamiji thought that he should perform Durga Puja in Belur Math, it was Ishwar Chandra, the father of Shashi Ramakrishnananda, who was the Tantra Dharak to do all the ritualistic worship at Belur Math. This Ishwar Chandra was so adept in mantra japa that he was simply laying on the bed sleeping at night, but his fingers used to move the rosary. Even in his sleep, he used to take the name of God. He was so much adept in that. It is called ajapa japa. Continuous nama japa. It goes to heart. From heart it goes to subconscious level, wherein without our conscious mind, the nama goes on repeating, which is called ajapa japa in Tantra Shastra. So, this is the analogy with Swamiji giving, take the hold of rope, get out of this body and mind complex. And then the last thing, it removes the prarabdha karma. As mother indicated, you can minimize the prarabdha karma by taking the name of God. There's a wonderful story in the life of Bodhendra Saraswati. Bodhendra Saraswati was the 59th pontiff of Kanchipuram Shankarapitha. As we know, Shankaracharya started 4 matas, and Kanchi, they consider it is also a Shankar mata started by Shankara. This Bodhendra Saraswati once went to North India on a pilgrimage. He went to all the parts of the country, even Kashi, came back to Puri. He was staying in Puri. There he heard a name of one person, a great saint called Lakshmidhara. He has written a wonderful book, Bhagavan Nama Kaumudi, which is not available now. He has written a wonderful book called Bhagavan Nama Kaumudi, which Bodhendra Saraswati came to know, and he wanted to meet this Lakshmidhara. He came to Puri, started searching for the house. The time he could search the house, it was quite dark, and the door was closed, and the people inside were all sleeping. Then he came to know that already Lakshmidhara has passed away. He is no more. And he thought he could meet the household people and get that book, and he wanted to read that book, Bhagavan Nama Kaumudi. As it was late night, he thought he will wait outside the house. There was a small veranda. He took out his chadar, spread it on the veranda. Then he just slept. But sleep was not coming because the thought of that Bhagavan Nama Kaumudi was always in his mind. At the dead of night, some stranger came and knocked the door of this Lakshmidhara. This stranger could not recognize Bodhendra Saraswati as he was lying in the corner, and it was a bit dark. He could not see the Swamiji. He knocked the door. One person opened the door. It was Lakshmikanta, the son of Lakshmidhara. This stranger asked, "Sir, I have come with a very terrible problem. I need a solution. I have come here for the solution. Can you spare few minutes for me?" Lakshmikanta says, "Yes, you come in." They both go inside the house. This stranger is narrating one story to Lakshmikanta, the son of Lakshmidhara. The witness is outside Swami Bodhendra Saraswati. Both have not recognized the Swamiji sitting outside. Then he narrates a story, the stranger. He is a man from South India. He has come on a pilgrimage to Kashi. He has come to Kashi, seen all the temples, stayed in a dharmashala, he and his wife. Both of them are staying in dharmashala. Night they both slept. Morning this stranger gets up and sees his wife missing. Whole Kashi for 1 week he goes on searching for this lady, for his wife, but he could not get any trace of his life. So unfortunately, with sober, depressed mind, he continues his pilgrimage. After 1 year or so, he again comes back to Kashi. Early morning, he goes near a well. It is quite dark, and he wants to take bath. He has gone to the well, has drawn the water from the well, washing his face and hands. At that moment, a woman comes and stands near him and asks the question, "Can you recognize me, sir?" He sees the lady, very dark in complexion. All the clothes are very much dirty, and she is unrecognizable, so much so that face is so much depressed. And he says, "No, I cannot recognize you." That lady says, "I am your wife." He was very much astonished to see his wife in that condition and asks, "What happened to you?" She narrates her story. "The day we slept in the dharmashala, night, I was supposed to attend nature's call. I came out, at that moment, some robbers came by that way and kidnapped me. Now I am a fallen woman. But I cannot leave you because I am your Dharmapatni. At the same time, I cannot accept that I am your wife. So, please take me as your maid servant. I want to serve you, staying with you as a maid servant. With the tears in his eyes, seeing the condition of his own wife, he says, yes, you can accompany me. Then on the way, he comes to Puri. There he hears this life of Lakshmidhara. In search of a solution, he has come to his son Lakshmikanta. He narrates all these stories to him. Now, what is the solution to bring my wife back to the normal life? So, do you have any solution? This Lakshmikanta says, yes, my father told that Nama Japa is the solution. Do you have a proof for that Nama Japa? Yes, my father has written a book, Bhagavan Nama Kaumudi, and he says and goes and brings the book. Bodhendra Saraswati is sitting outside all this time and comes out and says, and introduce himself to these people. They do pranams to the Swami. And Bodhendra Saraswati says, I have come all the way from Kanchi to have and see and study this book. Now, the question is, what is the solution? Or how to implement the solution? This Lakshmikanta says, ask your wife to repeat Rama Mantra 3 times with devotion. She comes out of this problematic condition. That moment, the wife of Lakshmidhara, the mother of Lakshmikanta, hears and says, what do you say, my son? My husband used to say, even repeating the Nama of Rama once, one can completely take out all the sins. Then Bodhendra Saraswati says, let us put this to test. Tomorrow morning, as this is a night, morning we will go to the Sarovara. Ask your wife to come there. Let her take a bath, taking a dip in that Sarovara, and repeat the Nama Mantra once and get up. Let us see what happens. This Swami, along with the family of Lakshmidhara and all other people of Puri, came there to see this scene. This wife was brought there. So you should understand the psychology of that woman. So much she would have suffered every day for that 1 year, losing her husband and losing the chastity. So definitely she will have devotion towards God. With that condition of the mind, she is taking a dip, comes out taking the name of God, and everybody sees to their astonishment, her black complexion goes, her sari gets very new one, and her face shines with some sort of enlightenment, and her bindu comes up. She had lost it, it comes of its own, taking Raman Japa once. Though she was a fallen woman, she came out taking the Rama Mantra once, repeating the name with devotion, which Bodhendra Saraswati has written, who was the pontiff of Kanchipuram Matham. Then, after coming to South India, he started chanting the name, and it is he who popularized Nama Mantra in Tamil Nadu. Even now, they gave glory to this Bodhendra Saraswati. It was he, and he has written 8 books on Nama Japa. This Swami, who is an Advaitic Swami, has written 8 books on Nama Japa. So, this is what it can do with respect to Prarabdha Karma, which is Holy Mother also telling the same thing. And one more last thing of this Nama is, it forms a kavacha to the person. If you see the Durga Saptashati, after Sankalpa, the first thing it starts with Kavacha. Every hair, every part of the body is protected by a divine mother, and the names of all the mother has been given with respect to every anga of the body, including the tip of a nail, the hair should be protected by the particular deity, which was experienced by Sri Ramakrishna himself. So, this Nama Mantra protects the person from all the obstacles of the world. It is not easy to lead a spiritual life. Ideal life in this were very difficult. So much everybody influences their thought on other person. The influence sometimes will be so strong that even it is possible to go astray. So this forms as a kavacha to the devotee. Finally, even it is already 6:40. Okay, if we study the life of Eknath, he attained to perfection taking the name of God through japa itself. He was so much composed that nothing of this world could disturb his composure. One day he goes to a river, takes bath and comes out. A Muslim spats on his body. Again he goes, takes bath, comes back. Again he spats. Again he goes, again he comes. Again this person spats on his body. This goes on for 108 times, as history says. Such a composure, this Muslim fellow was so much depressed, and he made Sashtang Pranam to Eknath and said, I cannot compete you. He got this strength by taking the nama of Vitthala. Seeing his devotion, even Swayam Vitthala served him as a servant for 12 long years. This is what Nama Japa can do. So, let us try to inculcate these aspects in life with the grace of the divine trio. With this, I conclude and thank you. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Paramastu.